Good morning, Year 2. So today you're going to start writing your non-chronological report about elephants. So I've chosen some words that you might need to use and that you might spell incorrectly. So these are all words spelled incorrectly, and I want you to have a go now at correcting them. So don't cheat. I want you to pause after I've told you what they say and then see if you can spot what's wrong with them. So we've got largest up the top, we've got massive, biggest, huge, elephant, calf, grey, trunk, animal, tusks and baby. So I want you to pause now and have a go at spelling them. Remember, making the mistakes, that's how we learn. So have a go at writing them yourself first. Right, let's see which ones you got right now. I'm going to start off with the ones with just a tiny little mistake in them. So animal down the bottom, it's just an A instead of an E. So I'm going to write correct A, not like the one the computer writes. So it's animal. Trunk, it's just a kicking K instead of a curly K. So it's grey. Now hopefully some of you remembered this rule. It's just like they, it doesn't have an A. It's an E. So it's grr, and it's an EY making the long A sound. Baby, now that actually says babby. So you need to get rid of the B. And then it says baby. Tusks is the same problem as trunk. It's a kicking K and not a curly K. So it's tusks, if there's more than one of them. And biggest, now that's not too tricky. It's just a double consonant because it's a short I sound. You need two G's and not one G. And the S gives you a clue to one of the other words. Elephant, I'm hoping some people know by now there's no F, it's a PH, making the F sound just like in telephone. And then calf, that's quite an unusual spelling. It's the AL, like in the word half, AL, it makes an R sound in calf. Now largest, we've already had a clue about the est and not ist. And then it's got a ginger G. So it's L, then R, then a ginger G, and then est. It does sound like est really, doesn't it? Not ist. And massive, that's another double consonant because it's an A sound. So it's M, A, and then you double the S to make massive. And hopefully no one would write huge like that anymore. It's actually a long U sound. It's a split digraph. It's a ginger G, and that makes huge. So make sure now that you've written the correct versions in your book. Hopefully some of you have now collected your pack from school, because in the pack you'll have a copy of this Spidergram that we looked at before with the facts to sort onto the Spidergram. So if you've now got that, this is your chance to sort out all your facts under the different headings, because remember, when you're writing a report you need to sort out the information so it's just not a long list. You can sort it under different headings, subheadings. So we've got some here to sort. We've got elephants hug their family by wrapping their trunks together. So that one would go under family. Elephants wave their trunks around to smell better. So that's a fact about the trunk. Elephants are herbivores, they never eat meat. So that's to do with their diet. Diet means what something eats. Elephants spend most of the day eating. So that's also about eating. Elephants use their trunk like a snorkel in deep water. So that would go under trunk. Elephants are hunted for their tusks to make ivory ornaments. That's about the tusks. A female elephant is pregnant for 22 months. So that's really about family, isn't it? So yours will be similar. They might not be exactly the same as those. So if you've got your sheets, now your job is to cut and stick them in the right place. If you haven't, you can go on to thinking about starting writing your report. One of the words you might not have seen before is this one, introduction. When you write a report, just like when you wrote about the Fire of London, you don't start with Samuel Pepys wrote a diary, because people would think, wrote a diary about what? You need to explain what you're writing about first. So you need general facts at the start and then specific facts later on. So we could sort some of these and see if we can find out which ones are general, which ones could go at the start to explain what we're writing about. What's this one down here? Baby tusks fall out after a year. Where people would think, what are tusks? So that has to go over there. So you can't really write about that until you've started writing about tusks. Elephants are the largest land animal in the world. So that is a really good way to start because that is a general fact. Elephants have very poor eyesight but excellent senses of hearing and smell. So that's really more specific. Elephant ears radiate heat to cool them down. That's just really about their ears. There are two types of elephant, the African and the Asian. So that is a general fact. Elephants are related to prehistoric mammoths. I think that's a pretty general fact as well, isn't it? So if you were writing your report, you could start off by writing these. But these ones over here would go under separate headings, just like in your Spidergram, you'd write them in separate paragraphs of your report. So this is how you're going to lay your report out on your piece of paper. So you're going to start off by writing the title, Elephant Report. Then you can write introduction. Don't write the rest of the subheadings until you've written the introduction because you don't know how much space you're going to need for each bit. So just write the title, the subheadings, and then write a bit about it and then go on to the next one. Now in your pack, I've given you a piece of paper with some photos on it to actually write your report on. So if you've got that, that would be the best place to write it. So here's the piece of paper from your pack, but don't worry if you haven't got that because you can equally well just write it in the book that you've already got. So it starts off with a picture of an elephant. So that's where you could write elephant report and introduction and write a bit about what an elephant is. Then we've got a picture of a trunk for the trunk section. We've got tusks. You could write about the tusks. Then we've got, that could be ears, or it could be about to do with their senses, their eyesight, or their skin even. You could write about their skin. Then we've got a picture of an elephant pulling some leaves. So that could be about what they eat, their diet. And last of all, there's a family of elephants and you could write about the family at the end. Your TLP is, can I write a non-chronological report? And these are some of the things we're going to try and remember. Full stops, capital letters, conjunctions like and because and that. And maybe the red one, if you're feeling super clever, is adverb openers. And I'll show you some examples. So remember, after we've done our writing, we're going to be looking at this and checking what we've remembered. So hopefully you're going to read it and it'll make sense. Capital letters. You might even manage to put some commas in lists. Handwriting. So hopefully it's neat enough that we can read it. Adjectives. Maybe you might fit in some openers like surprisingly, some adverbs, and interestingly. And then conjunctions. So if you manage to put all of those in your report, I'll be very impressed. Here's an example report written using those headings, and we'll have a look at it and see what features have been included. This isn't for you to copy, this is just an example. Elephant report introduction. Elephants are the largest land animal in the world. They live in Africa and India and have many interesting features. So we've got two adjectives there. We've got largest, we've got interesting, we've got capital letters for Africa and India. Tusks. Surprisingly, elephant tusks are actually giant teeth. Baby tusks fall out just like human milk teeth. Tusks can be used to scrape bark off trees, dig for water and fighting. Sadly, elephants are often hunted because their tusks are made of valuable ivory. So I think that paragraph there has got everything in it. We've got an adverb opener there, we've got surprisingly, and we had sadly. We've got adjectives like valuable. We've got a conjunction. We've got because there. And we've got exclamation mark as well. You don't have to use those, but they do make it sound a bit more interesting. And we've even got a comma there because we've got a start of a list. Trunk. Interestingly, an elephant's trunk is just a huge nose. There's another exclamation mark. They use it for picking up food, comma, carrying objects, comma, collecting water, and even as a giant snorkel when they are swimming. Another exclamation mark. They also use their trunk to cover their bodies with mud to protect themselves from the hot African sun. And I've remembered that African has a capital letter. We've got another adverb opener there. We've got interestingly. You can put commas after openers like that. Diet. Elephants spend most of the day eating. They pick leaves and fruit off trees and eat grasses, fruit, roots and bark. So we've got some commas for a list there. They are herbivores, so never eat any meat. Family. An elephant family is made up of a cow, the mum, a bull, the dad, and calves, the babies. An elephant mother... Oh, we've got a missing word. Let's put that one in because that doesn't make sense. An elephant mother is pregnant for 22 months! Exclamation mark. Elephants care for each other and protect the youngest members of the herd. Now, these things here are called brackets. And they're just used to explain. So it says a cow, and that's the name for the mum, a bull, which is the name for the dad, and calves, which is the name for the baby. So brackets are just sort of an extra bit of information just in case people didn't know what you meant. So that's an example of how you can use the heading. So there's lots of other facts that we've found out about elephants, so you don't have to use those ones. You can use some of your own. You can even use your own heading if there's something you were interested in. There's nothing about the ears there. There's nothing about their senses, nothing about what they use the tail for. There's nothing about why their skin is so wrinkly and thick. There's nothing about why their feet are so wide. So there's lots of different facts you can include. You don't have to write the whole thing today. I think if we were in school, we'd only be doing the top two bits probably. We'd probably only get as far as the introduction and the tusks on the first day. So you've got the rest of the week to finish this report, and tomorrow we're going to be looking at how we can edit it, the bits we've already written, and how we can spot our own mistakes. So good luck with starting that piece of writing.